What's up, guys? HOTSHOTFRONTIER back at it again with another video. And in this video, guys, we are doing a best 2023 products tier list. So I actually did this tier list last year as well, and we always have a lot of fun doing this. And we're going to do some simple tiers, going from S tier being the best and of course D being absolutely terrible. So starting off with our first one, we have Age of Overlord, and I'm going to automatically put this at S tier. And little disclaimer, I'm going to put a lot of products at S tier, but of course with a good reason. So actually, before we get into more of this, I want to tell you guys, we are so close to getting to 1K subscribers on YouTube. That would honestly be amazing to me if you guys can hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're updated the moment I upload new videos. But let's get right back to this video and start off with, of course, Age of Overlord and the amazing cards inside this set. You had direct support from Vanadium. You had the simple spoil strategy getting its designated cards finally, because the card they got from Duelist Nexus weren't really enough to kind of give it, put it into something like a deck, but this really defined it, and something with Rescue Ace made it like tier 1. So it was really good support. You have generic cards, of course, like Little Knight, that's below Knight. You have Anti-Zeus, were some amazing cards to have in the set. You have the Volcazor monster that actually got released in the set as well, which will actually help later on. It's been going up in price, and with just so much value, guys, that's a reason why this box is like $90, $95 right now. And of course, you had other stuff like TG support, you had Supreme King support. Those two aren't the best, but honestly, it's nice to see everything in here. So the set itself is really good. It's the second main core set of the year to actually receive quarter century rares as well. And I think out of the main core sets that have the core century rares, which are this set and of course Duelist Nexus, they're the main core sets. This is probably like the most successful one in terms of quarter century rares. So overall, it's S tier. It's triple S, baby. Okay, so it deserves that spot. Now moving on to our next pick here, we have the 2023 Megatons. So part of me wants to put it either between A tier and S tier. I'm gonna put it honestly at A tier. Now, coming out, a lot of the cards were of course lower, but of course over time I knew that these cards were going to go way up in price. And actually, before we even talk about that, what's inside this tin, right? You have finally what do you guys call that? Promos are finally back in the Megatons. It's been so long since 2019 that promos have not been inside at all. It's been crazy. So we did get quarter century rare promos in here. Now, that's a whole other talk that, they sort of destroyed value from Starlight rares of similar, cards. But overall, they looked really nice. You can use them for older formats, this current format, whatever you want. And then, of course, the cards inside the actual packs were really nice too, because you had a lot of value with something like Rebellion. You had your Fenrirs, you did not have Fenrirs. A lot of the Runic cards got reprinted. They look really nice. You had the Runic cards, of course, that got reprinted in that nice ultra rare rarity, or even that prismatic secret rare rarity. Plus, this was actually the Megaton where Konami actually said that they doubled the amount of cards that were going in here. So you're getting a lot in terms of just paying, I believe it was $22 MSRP. So overall, it's a good A tier product. Now, the design of it wasn't the best in terms of that, but it kind of grew on me. And overall, I think it belongs in A tier. So going on to our next one, guys, we have Duelist Nexus, the set that, again, was the first main core set to have core century rares. Honestly, for me, I'll put this at A tier. Now, a lot of the driving point in terms of the set for me is Crimson Dragon, because it finally got personified from the anime into the card game, which is amazing. But other than that, I mean, if you really think about it, once like something like Hot Red Calamity leaves, you won't see as much play. It will still be in the meta, but it won't be like as much. And this is probably like the latest, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's craze set. Like if you definitely love the set, then you definitely want to get the set. This set wasn't bad overall, but I just feel like a lot of the values are all over the place, and it's not like necessary with this set. Now, it does have cards that were initially hyped, like Revolution Synchron, but over time that card sank down in price because people weren't really using it. So I think this is a set that will be really good later on, and a lot of the cards will go up in price. But initially, it didn't really capture that much hype in terms of like Age of Overlord, for example. Going on to our next pick, guys, we have the Legendary Duelist Legendary Collection 25th Anniversary set. So this was the reprint of the one that they did years ago. but now they included, these were the first quarter century rares we were getting into the TCG. So it was really cool to see. And I can't put it at S tier. I don't think I can put it at S tier because as a product itself, I don't know, but I will actually put it at A tier. So I love the Egyptian God cards more than like the Dark Magician, Blue Eyes, and of course, I believe it was Red Eyes. See, I'm forgetting already, but as quarter century rares, they were amazing. They really looked good. Personally, for me, I mean, you know, you did get packs in this, but you never expect anything in those packs. I really just love this because I liked seeing which quarter century rare I could get as a God card or Dark Magician or etc. So it was nice to see here, and I liked how they did it. You know, pretty much it was a small package. Just kind of have the packs, get your sealed cards, and there you go, end of day, right? So I'm gonna put it at A tier. Next up, guys, we have Maze of Memories, and I'm actually going to place this at low S tier. So hear me out, right? We have the Barone reprint in here, which is really nice. It was an accessible $40 card at the time, you know, before, of course, 25th anniversary collection, but it was great to see there. We had our first printing of the Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon, which is really nice as well in the meta. And we also had the Rico reprint of the XYZ monster, which that also was getting expensive. It was like a $30-$40 secret rare at the time. We had a lot of really cool CRs in here too. Plus, for nostalgic players, we had Gate Guardian. Finally, it got more support and kind of bridged the older stuff together. So enough to see at a YCS. I think it was a Europe YCS, but on the cam, you saw a Gate Guardian player. I think versus Castura too. So it was just a lot of nostalgic in here, nostalgic feelings in here too. So I love this set. I think it deserves its like low S tier ranking, but let me know down below what you guys think. Next up are Wild Survivors, and for Wild Survivors, I'm actually gonna put this at B tier. Now, it's not a terrible set, but you did have something like Vanquish Soul, right? You had the Dino support and Dinos in those CRs too. Come on now. But no Vels, right? They didn't really carry much weight in terms of the other two. And I feel like a good side set that has like CRs or whatever it has should have all three archetypes be like equally good or just amazing. So unfortunately, I can't put it at A tier, but I definitely loved it at B tier. Dinos, crazy. Vanquish Soul took the meta by storm, and it's still a very competitive deck. So going on to our next one, we have the Red Dragon Archfiend, or I think it's Crimson Dragon deck, and I'm not going to put this at C tier. I will put it at B tier. So we do have two other structure decks on this list, and I think those two structure decks are more viable in terms of what is already inside. Like, what can you do off of just three of any structure deck that you buy? I think that's very important, especially nowadays where, you know, someone like Pat can take 3 Trap Trick structure decks and just win his locals. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, that's something that you want to see, you know what I mean? Especially from a budget player's mindset. So with this, I feel like it's the weaker of the 3, but it's still a great start to, you know, building that Red Dragon Archfiend strategy. Going on to our next one, we have Battles of Legend, Monstrous Revenge, I believe. So where would I put this? I might put this also B tier. So this had a really good, this one also had quarter century rares, right? This might have been the first side set to have quarter century rares for this year. And something like Super Polymerization was really nice to see. It had a lot of other really good quarter century rares. You had the Bistio Lubellion too, which I think is still the highest of the set. And it just had some amazing reprints. Especially, you know, of course, you had them in Secret Rare too, which was nice to get. So I think personally it was a good Battles of Legends set, but it wasn't like one where, you know, it wasn't a 10,000 dragon set where that was a chase. Like, let's buy cases to get that 10,000 dragon, unfortunately. Still though, it was great reprints all around. So we're gonna leave it at B tier. Going on to the reprints of the, you know, of course, the first set of Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm actually gonna put them all at C tier. That's kind of exactly why I brought them all out. So the reason I put them here is there wasn't much like, you know, innovation with these. Now, the main problem I had with these was that it didn't have the 25th anniversary stamp on the actual card. If it did, honestly, this would go to like A tier for me at least, because like other than that, it's the same cards. They're the same cards. They were like newer printing quality, which also kind of throws me off because it's like I like the older printer quality. But of course, you know, they're using new printer qualities for all the cards. It just doesn't make these cards look good, for me at least. So I'm curious. I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think about that. But for me, yeah, it doesn't give more motivation to me. Like I would want to create like a whole binder of them for LOB. It would have been amazing, but unfortunately, it doesn't have that stamp. So we're moving on. And of course, this is different from like the actual set that has these packs inside with the core Sentry Rares. Completely different for me. Now moving on to the second structure deck here, we're talking about the Trap Trick structure deck, and I'm actually going to put this at A tier. So a lot of amazing reprints in here too. And of course, before the Rarity Collection, we had a reprint of Evenly Matched in a structure deck. It was amazing at the time, and Trap Trick's getting new support too. The new support was actually really good. Like you had, I believe, 2 or 3 different new link monsters for the deck, and the traps you were getting in here as well. I mean, it is a trap-based deck, but they were really solid. Like off of 3 structure decks, pack 1 his locals, and a lot of people did too. Like the deck is really good off of just 3. So I mean, hey, you want to get staples in here, get your staples. Take 3 structure decks to local, you'll do really good. I think even now you can still do really good, and that's something you really want to see like a few months after the product actually comes out. So definitely deserves its A tier status. Going on to Cyberstorm Access, and it took me a second too because I was thinking, what else is in here? So this is going to be interesting. I want to put this B tier, like top of B tier. So the reason I say that is that, you know, this set has some amazing cards, don't get me wrong. You have like, it was like a love letter to branded players because it was like what, 60% branded stuff, which was nice. It was nice to see. This was the last main core Starlight set, and as a main core Starlight set, I felt like it failed a little bit because again, it was mostly just the branded player stuff, and again, nothing wrong with that, but you also want to see variety with that too, other people and how, you know, what something that they might like. The main card on the art typically for main core sets isn't the best, but I feel like it didn't have that nostalgic take as other ones do, like with Dueling Nexus. Of course, that card wasn't like in 5Ds, but it was similar. It was like, you know, a Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds type of monster it would be. So it's cool to kind of collect it. It didn't have that to it. It did have, of course, Chaos Angel, which is still like an $80, $90 card. But other than that, like, it reminds me of Ignition Assault, where Lightning Storm at the time, that secret rare, and the Starlight rare were really carrying that set. Like everything else was kind of like going nowhere, unfortunately. So for that reason, I'm going to put it at B tier, but it's still not a terrible set in terms of like branded support, which is nice. Going on to our next one, I'm just going to put that straight to D. This is the Dark Magician. It was like the pre-order limited edition. I think it was like 500 people maximum you can get it. And I think it was like either like a $500 or like $1,000 pre-order. It was crazy. So this would be higher if they didn't do the Blue Eyes one before, because then it would have been like, oh, that's so cool. They've never done something like that before, you know? But now that they've already done the Blue Eyes one, it's like, okay, let's do this one now. It's showing like a line of them doing several of these, and it's not really giving much sentimental value or even like value itself, because they're going to continuously do multiple of these, but just different cards. So I put that at D tier. If we were talking about the Blue Eyes one at that year, definitely I would put that much higher because it was really cool to see. But yeah, no, we're leaving that D tier. Now talking about the best of the year, Rarity Collection, are you kidding me? Like everything in 7 rarities, like a chance to get a core Sentry rare. Come on, guys, that's awesome. That's actually awesome. Core Sentry secret rare. So yeah, they did a good job with this. Honestly, when the pre-orders came out, like initially a few months back, I didn't get anything. I was worried, but I'm so glad I waited. I found a good box, pulled my Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring quarter Sentry rare, kind of crazy. But yeah, this set's amazing. I will always love opening up this set. I'm gonna try to open up more before like all the packages like leave my Walmart and Target area. So really cool to see. Next up on the list, guys, we have Photon Hypernova. I'm actually gonna put this set at A tier, like middle of A tier. So you have a lot of amazing things going on for this set, right? You had a generic card like TTT, which is still good till today. You have Kashtira, which when it came out, tier 0. Funny how we just got out of a tier limit tier 0 format to go right into a Kashtira tier 0 format. So that was hilarious. You had stuff on the back end like Gold Pride Punk, which, you know, Gold Pride of course came out in this set, and unfortunately it just didn't go the long mile, but initially it was hyped. Everyone was happy to play it. So a lot of amazing things were going on in the set, and you had a lot of stuff where they were definitely overlooked in terms of going around like $6-9. And I think overall though the set was really good. I feel like maybe it could have had maybe 1 or 2 stronger connections, like with archetype wise in this set, but unfortunately that just wasn't the case. You had Galaxy, like Photon Galaxy support, which didn't like go crazy in the meta, but at least it was like nostalgic to that point, so that was cool to see. And Starlight Rare, and of course Starlight Rare wise, you had more branded love, plus you had the Tribute monster, which kind of to me was a letdown. But other than that, the set was really cool to see. Now talking about our first speed duel set, we have the Duelist of Shadows set, and I'm actually going to put this at like B tier. It's hard to really rank this because I'm really just ranking them on the promos themselves. You could use the decks if you do. I mean, I feel like it would probably go more higher on your list, but personally, I only use them for like in terms of like promos. A lot of people, I believe, bought them just to have the decks, but of course to see what promos they get. And they had some really good promos in this one. You had the DD Crow, which is still like a $22 card right now. You have Super Polymerization, Allure Darkness, Macro Cosmos, and that really nice Secret Rare printing, which is like a more like darker like Euro print type of printing, which is really cool to see, because we prefer those Euro printing cards. And something to also note that if you guys don't know is that you're allowed to use speed duel cards in TCG like format, but you can't do the reverse. Now we're talking about OTS 22, our second OTS pack on this list, and I would actually put it at low of B tier. So this was a great OTS pack, don't get me wrong. You had TTT, you had the Pearly Monster, and you had Branded Fusion and Ultimate Rare. So honestly for me, I actually just prefer the Sprite Blues, and of course the Cashier Fenris a little bit more. Next up we have Valiant Smashers, and for Valiant Smashers, I'd actually put this at a strong A tier level. It's like board of A tier going on to S tier, but again, like I stated, with side sets, you really want to have it strong where the other archetypes are doing good too. And for this one, I feel like it's just more Centurion, which, don't get me wrong, the deck is amazing, and you can basically Calamity Lock your opponent whenever you want. I just feel like the other archetypes should do more. Now, this set was interesting because it not only featured collector's rares, it also featured the quarter century secret rare as well. And I think even long term, the set's going to do really good. Like even now, the set is doing amazing. Everything's up right now for that set. But for that reason, I would place it at A tier. Going on to our next product, we have the pot collection. So this was a collection where you got like ceramic pots, plus you got the matching card that it came with. So I would actually put this at C tier. I'm not going to put it at D tier like it's terrible as this, because at least this one is semi-unique. They're not going to make a whole like another pot collection down the line. Well, hopefully not. I hope not. But it's cool to kind of, see, you can kind of, I don't know how they were packaged. Maybe the packaging also have like the pot collection on it, like the naming. So it actually be really cool to display as well. But going away from like the pot side of it, the ceramic side, the cards themselves aren't like extremely unique. I mean, they do have a particular rarity, but at the end of the day, I don't think someone like a budget player, or I mean a player in general, is going to be collecting 3 of those to play in their deck. It might just be something cool to have in your collection. So it's semi-unique. It's more unique than the Dark Edition for sure, in my opinion. So that's for that reason I would actually put it at C tier and above the other reprint stuff, of course. Going on to our next one, and that is the structure deck. The last one here, we have the Fire King structure deck, which in my opinion is an S tier level deck, because this is a tier 1 potential deck already with so many variants to play. We just released a deck profile. You guys should definitely go ahead and check it out. But you had a lot in here. You had Imperm as a common, which is kind of cool to see. You also had, I believe, Duel and Lockbird too. So a lot of strong cards in here. And just with 3 decks, you can do a lot without any other type of variant of it, just the 3 structure decks, which is always important to see. And for that reason, I'd actually put it at S tier. Going on to our next one, we have Legendary Duelist Volcanic Souls, I think. I don't even know, to be honest with you, but I wouldn't put it C tier. I'd put it like low of B tier. And it's crazy because, Salmon Greats had so much more hype going back in. It was like, yes, they're coming back. But unfortunately, it's just, they didn't do much. Now, on the other hand, though, there's Battle in Boxins. There's the Volcanic support, because that also was very hyped because, wow, like, it was a meme. they never got support. Like, it's been so long. They were probably one of those archetypes that have not gotten support in such a long time. And finally in this set, they got support. So you gotta give them that. I put that like low B tier. The cards though, the Salamangreat cards are being used in other decks like Fire Kings, which is nice to see too, just being used in Salamangreat. The value of the set is pretty low, but I think for those reasons, that's why I would put it in B tier. Going on to our next one, our last View Duel product, Battle City. I would actually put this like, I would actually put it like B tier as well. And the reason being is that you get a lot of like nostalgic from this product. You have Dark Magician Girl, you have Red Eyes, Dark Magician, Arcana version 2, which is really cool to see, and that's secret rarity, which reminds me to actually buy a few of those. But other than that, you had a lot of great like nostalgic pieces. It wasn't better than the Shadow set that came like after it, I believe, but it was still a great set to see in terms of nostalgic cards. It also had Summon Skull too, which was really cool in that secret rarity. And guys, moving on to our final product of the tier list, we have OTS 23. So with this set, I'm actually gonna put this at actually at like B tier. I would put it at B tier. Now, don't get me wrong, I actually really like OTS 23 because you had generic ultis compared to archetype-specific ultis. You had Enemy Controller and Kurikara. Unfortunately, though, on the other side, Kurikara wasn't being used as much. It kind of missed that mark. It used to be, being used a lot, like $80, $90 just for a Kurikara, but it fell off at that point, so kind of missed the mark on that. And Enemy Controller, it was a great card. It is a great card. I think it also fell off in terms of meta play, but I think it's one of the best cards, the best ulti in that set, because later on people will go back to using it. So it's great to kind of still get for later. And the super rares though, right? You had the furniture cards for Lab, which didn't have a super rare before. They look really nice. And the other thing too is Pulling the Rug. It's an amazing Edison card. So nice to kind of see a good all-around set for this one. But that's why I think it deserves to be in B tier. But guys, looks like that's the end of our video. If you guys liked the video, make sure you give it a huge like. Comment down below if you agree with our picks or where would you place certain sets. And guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you're updated the moment I upload new videos. But guys, that's it for me. Hope you have a good rest of your day or night, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.